past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is January 7th, 2025. This is the 28th episode of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our palatial second story studio in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch. And it gives me great pride, pleasure, and honor to introduce my friend, your friend, Scott Brooks.
Hi, brother. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Welcome, everyone, to this beautiful, sunny, cold weather as we hear a train on Jeff's phone go off.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that. It's cold out there, but sunny. You know, I measure the cold, obviously, by what I feel, but when you walk outside in Texas on a Tuesday afternoon and the sun is shining and you breathe and you can see your breath,
Right.
that's cold. That's just cold. And of course, we know that we're headed into latter part of this week. We're headed into some weather events, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But thank you for being here. Jeff and I do this show every Tuesday and Thursday across almost every live stream platform out there. And obviously you know that because you're watching it, but and then we have these shows available on our YouTube channel, the Waxahachie Sun YouTube channel afterwards. So if you want to, you can go back and watch them, or if you didn't get a chance to watch the live show at noon, you can watch them later, where we see a lot of people doing that.
And tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends about Grit and Good News. There's so many live streams and podcasts going on in the world today, and we don't claim to be anything special other than two guys who are authentic, who love this community, who are active in this community, who care about you, care about the truth, and we want to do our part, big or small, whatever that is, in making sure that we contribute to society in positive ways as opposed to negative ways.
And unlike my media mogul buddy here, I continue to not watch, listen to any podcasts, and yet I'm doing one. So I don't know if that qualifies me or disqualifies me, but we do see a fair number of people do tend to tune us in.
Yeah, I think it's probably a positive that you don't get, into the habit of watching all these podcasts. But
Yeah.
they're podcasts about, I mean, we saw in the election with Kamala Harris, where she went on that podcast, Call Your Dad, or was it Call Your Daddy, or Who's Your Daddy, which is a really
A smutty.
yeah, that's a good word for it. So from that sort of thing to even worse, to all sorts of different podcasts. I read today, the talk has been, or the numbers have shown as of the past, I don't know what period of time, but that Joe Rogan's show has been the number one podcast in America. Well, he was moved to second place recently by, get this, by a West Coast podcast done by a young priest, who his podcast is about, he's Catholic, about the Rosary. It's called, I forget the name of it, but it's, if you just look it up,
Could it be called
podcast.
the Stations of the Cross? Well, Stations
No,
of the Cross is
it's
different.
something about the Rosary, but I would imagine it goes into a lot of different topics under the regarding Catholicism and the society. But he's past Joe Rogan, and so here we are.
Wow.
We like to be able to talk about both things in Waxahachie, in the county, and we also like to bring the world to Waxahachie, as we say often. But the idea of podcasts, they come a dime a dozen. We
Yeah.
try to do it with a high degree of responsibility and ethics, and so we're going to keep doing that. But we're glad you're here. We get a lot of response. Good afternoon, Terry. Good to see. Well, I can't see you, but wish I could
Hear
it's good
from
to
ya.
Hear from you. Hope you're feeling well and doing well, and that mom and dad is doing well as well. But here we are. So we're going to kick off the show today talking about what I write about in tomorrow's column, really from a more general, although specific, but a general. You'll see that it's general in nature, but it addresses what, in this case, presidents who are lame duck, meaning that they lost the election on November in this case, the 5th. They don't leave office till January the 20th or the 19th. So what do they do in that over 2 months? What do they do in that time frame? Oh, and what they do really can make a difference, particularly, or you say that, but particularly when it's a president who is termed out. Well, I mean, Biden's not termed out. thank thank good he lost. Thank God he
He's
lost. But he's
practically out.
done. Yeah, he's practically out. He couldn't do another term. And so he as I was reading the other day, there is really no accountability in that 2.5 months or two
And it's
months
always
into
been that way. It's no different for him than
no,
anybody
it's
else.
no different for him and than anybody else. The question is, how do each of these presidents that are on their way out handle it? And so it's with that context or that premise that we're going to talk about these Presidential Medal of Freedom.
And one thing they all do, again, this is just how it works. They all stoke up the pardon machine, and we had an
Yeah,
extensive talk about our man Hunter, and then the next big go around was taking all those
death
people
row,
on death
death
row.
row, and put them on live.
But it's not like he let them out.
No, he didn't let
And
them out.
if you're in life, there's a song goes, I turned 21 in prison
Yeah,
doing life without
yeah.
parole.
I mean, if somebody said to me, "Would you rather do life without parole or get the chair, as it were?" I'm not sure what I would do. I don't know. eh, I don't know. I've never been in prison, never been inside of a jail cell, but I just don't know that I would have the ability to do it for the rest of my life. I guess if I was 90, I could do it, but if I'm
It's another it's
19,
another one of those cases with the difference between federal rights and states' rights. Every state has its own way of doing it. There's still some electric chairs. There's
yeah,
injections. The injections have all got their different mystery formulas.
yeah,
We've
yeah,
we've got no hangings, no Jeffrey Lynches, no firing squads.
right.
Uh,
But I guess the question is pardoning. I don't want to get off on the tangent too
yeah,
far, but is pardoning death row inmates to life in prison without parole, is that a gift to them or not? Two of them rejected it. Said we're not signing this part. We're just fine where we are. Just call them home. So but the Presidential Medal of Freedom, let me just mention this or read this to you. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the nation's highest civilian honor presented to individuals who have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, or private endeavors. President Biden believes great leaders keep the faith, give everyone a fair shot, and put decency above all else. These 19 individuals are great leaders who have made America and the world a better place. They are great leaders because they are good people who have made extraordinary contributions to the country and the world.
when you were doing that research and you got that list, did you happen to be able to see is the 19 a high number or a low number? My guess, it sounds pretty high.
I think it is a high number,
That's
but
giving them out a
I
dime a
didn't do any
dozen.
comparison. My instincts or my educated guess is that it's a high number. And the people that are included, some of these I know, and some of them you probably have heard of. Some I haven't. Jose Andres Bono from U2, Alec Baldwin Carter, who is a posthumous award, Hillary Rodham Clinton of all people, Michael
My
J.
wife and
Fox.
I commented when we saw that picture of her. This is Rita's big on picking this up, just like I'm on noticing to pace.
Yeah,
She'll look at a woman, she goes, "She's had some work done,"
yeah,
and you know what? Hillary looks the best she's ever
I
looked
agree.
right
Jesse,
now.
matter of fact, Jesse Waters, one of the folks I watch on each night. He paid her a compliment. He
Yeah,
said Hillary's looking very
yeah.
nice, and she had on red, which I thought was interesting. Um, that's kind of what they said about Jill Biden when she voted. She wore red to vote. Hillary had on all red. Michael J. Fox, Tim Gill, Jane Goodall. We remember Jane Goodall from the
Yeah,
apes and
the
all that. The thing.
monkey
Yep.
anthropologist. Yeah,
Fannie Lou Hamer, posthumous award. Magic Johnson, RFK. So
RFK
RFK, not
Junior
June.
or,
No,
RFK posthumously.
yeah. And so that he died in 1968. It amazes me that I mean, maybe you can win I would imagine you can't win them twice. What's the point? If you win
I
them
mean,
once, you're it. It's like you're it.
it's like the Hall of Fames in sports. They got
Yeah.
the Veterans Committee. I mean, I don't know. Somebody needs to look up Did Harry Truman get one? We ought to get one out to him.
Well,
Dwight Eisenhower, who knows?
it just seems odd to me that since 1968, and these are done every 4 years, that a president hasn't recognized RFK as a Presidential Medal of Freedom Award winner before.
They're every four.
Well, they might be every year actually now. I don't think
Because if
it
they
doesn't
are,
say
they
on
they go
here.
on that cycle of what we've talked about. Me and my calendar trivia.
Yeah, I don't know why he would be there now. That's interesting. Ralph Lauren.
Can you make a quick check on that, Sam? How often
How
does
often
the
do they give Presidential Medal of Freedom? Ralph Lauren,
uh-huh.
the fashion dude. Lionel Messi,
The
the
soccer?
soccer
Great,
star.
great soccer star.
William Sanford Nye. You know who that is?
Bill
Bill
Nye, the
Nye.
science guy,
George Romney, who is Mitt Romney's daddy. Uh,
former governor of New York and one time or more than
Governor of
one time
Michigan.
Michigan
He
presidential candidate,
he was a
wasn't he?
let's see, it says George Romney was a businessman who served as the chairman and president of American Motors in Corporation, AMC. Remember,
AMC, yeah.
he later served as both the 43rd governor of Michigan and the third secretary of housing and urban development. David Rubenstein or Rubenstein, George Stevens Jr., Denzel Washington won Medal of Freedom,
Great
and
actor.
Anna Wintour, who I do not know. And the last one, the one we're going to talk about here right now, is George Soros. What did you find out, Sammy?
I don't know if I looked it up right, but it says the executive order calls for the medal to be awarded annually on or around July 4th and at any other convenient times as chosen
Okay.
by the president.
All right. So there you go. It sounds like it's an annual
Okay.
event.
Okay.
So George Soros was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He was the only one, other than those who are deceased. He was the only one who didn't show up. His son did. Uh, but George Soros. Now, those of you watching and listening have heard of George Soros before, I'm sure, and you've seen pictures of him. He looks like he's just one step from the grave, but he's a Hungarian. But he also is
More money than God.
he's worth roughly $6.5 billion. He's a hedge fund guy. Um, but here's the things that George Soros is known for, and this was just a little bit of research. I couldn't done a whole lot more, but we only have 15 minutes to talk about these things. George Soros funds the Open Society Foundation in America. Well, it's across the world. The Open Society Foundation and George Soros have uh, been claimed to be, and these claims are supported by facts and examples. Anti-Israel, pro DEI, which we see pro DEI right now. Those that are pro DEI kind of becoming con DEI. I mean, more and more companies are getting rid of their DEI
Right.
divisions. Rightfully so. Institutions like
And when
in
Trump gets in
academia,
there, that will
yeah,
even go faster.
it'll go faster. George Soros supports and funds district attorneys who are soft on crime. Jeff and I were talking earlier about George Gascon, who was the DA in Los Angeles County. I think that's the county there. But in Los Angeles, where things, among many things, decisions or rules or laws or whatever put into place that say if you stole less than $750, that it would be a misdemeanor, that you wouldn't spend any time in jail, that you basically pay what little fine I guess you had to pay, and off you go to do it again. He just got demolished in his election back in November. He's no longer in place, and that's happened with several district attorneys across the country. But George Soros is the one, and I know many of you have read this and seen this about George Soros, but he's the one who's propped these folks up, giving them campaign dollars, and so he's really really kind of a rat in that sense, and so far an instigator. And
Yeah.
when it gets somebody elected that's going to cause havoc or create havoc in society. Um, George Soros funds Media Matters, which if you ever get a chance to go online, not that I would suggest you spend much time there, but Media Matters is a nasty, far left, liberal website, and they may have a podcast as well, but just full of vitriol and just nasty. George Soros funds left-leaning organizations, not just leaning, but far left organizations all across the world. George Soros supports globalism, which is another word for socialism. And he hasn't, and this country really made efforts to get people elected at the highest levels who support socialism. Uh, and he supports in big ways open borders. All right. So if I go back to the definition of freedom of Medal of Freedom honors, it says these folks have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States. So here we have a guy who was presented with an award that supposedly represents people of that kind of character, who's almost just the opposite. There's nothing about George Soros that I can find that would suggest that he cares much to contribute about to the welfare and well-being of the United States, but he's been given this honor. And some can make the same claim about Hillary Clinton. She's far more familiar to us in the inner workings of who and what she does, who she is and what she does. But I could I think win an argument that says Hillary Clinton is not deserving of this award if you take the award at face value.
Right.
So the point of all of this is that Joe Biden right now has 2 weeks from yesterday, I think, on the 20th. So no, yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks from or today. Is it today? It's today.
Today's
2 weeks from today,
today.
he will be gone.
Right.
2 weeks from yesterday, actually, he'll be gone. But he'll be gone in 2 weeks. And so there's a lot of things that can be done in a matter of 2 weeks by a guy who obviously, as I claim in my column, has a degree of bitterness in him to do some things that he knows full well, in my opinion, is snubbing his nose at the American people. Did you see what he said to the reporters yesterday? He in a very angry, mean. I mean, you have to watch
He
it.
can go that way.
He said, I know something to the effect of I know more world leaders than you all will ever know, or something to that effect, in your GD lives. I mean, it was just
Did he say the
mean.
GD or did
He
he?
said it. He said it. And so what I think's happening is that we have a guy who's angry, bitter, lost most of his mind, who's still able to make decisions, and he made that decision about Trump, not about banning 625 million acres, or million acres of drilling of land upon which into which we can drill to get oil, gas, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and the way I heard that, it made it sound like even though he put the ban in, Trump's going to have to get Congress to
He
overrule
does
it.
that. I went I read about it to see, well, why couldn't, if he can just do it like that, why couldn't Trump just undo it like that? Well, what Biden did like that was he put into place a law, I guess that's what you'd call it, that had attached to it, and I don't know when this was done, but that it has to have that, I don't know if that's a supermajority or what do you want to call it, but it had to have the support of Congress to be able to undo it. There is that there are those that you don't have to have that and can undo
Wow.
it. There are those that you do. And so
Wow.
that furthers my point, is that Biden says, okay, hold my beer, watch this. I'm going to ban 625 million acres, and you can't just undo it. You got to get support of Congress. Now, I don't know what the percent of Congress has to approve it, but I think it's more than a simple majority. So Trump's got his work cut out, but Trump says he's going to undo it.
Yeah,
So,
this is just a diversion that I was thinking about and hoping and praying for. Really, well, I don't want to waste a prayer on it, but because save those for the dead people. But I earnestly hope that when Donald Trump gets into office, he does not spend a lot of time going back and criticizing Obama or Hillary or the Democrats or what's happened. Let's look forward instead of trying to
yeah,
put the
yeah,
gig on those
I'm
guys.
with you, and
You know,
I think Trump's going to
and I
surprise
hope
some
so.
people.
I
I
hope
think
so.
he's going to surprise people by doing just that, by not doing what you're suggesting, by taking the high road. He's got plenty of folks, whether it's the new AG that I think will be confirmed, Kash Patel, the FBI
Yeah.
dude, others who can do that work if they want to. But Trump's going to lead the country, and I think leave it up to them.
Yeah, and I know I love this term that's come about now in terms of what we used to call the left-leaning liberal media, and it's getting less and less of that, but now it's being called legacy media.
Yeah.
Well, legacy is kind of like what's in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're called legacy media.
Well,
I the one thing I've seen a slight change on, we had a brief conversation about this, is the term insurrection seems to be going away. I heard Fox News, which is not what you call legacy media, now calling it an incident. On NBC Nightly News last night, they referred to it as an attack and a violent riot.
yeah.
The only in our beloved Today in History on Monday's version, which was the 6th, we usually have 6, 7, 8 of them. We could only get in 5 of them because they wrote this big long thing about it at the
About the
bottom
insurrection.
but they never use the word insurrection. They do use, of course, the false claims of a stolen election. But I did like the final line after it seemed like they were stoking it up, and they come back with Congress reconvene hours later on January 6th to finish certifying the election result. And as you saw, as we all saw, riveted to our seats watching this, they just kind of wandered out like field trip's over. Gotta go home. Gotta catch a beer and a burger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I to that point, I think that with us, if there's one area that I think Trump may spend some time on making sure that what wrongs he believed were committed against him will be righted, have to do with this so-called insurrection. The January 6th committee and others who he believed, like Pelosi, he believes could have prevented this from happening, but wanted it to happen. And so all this theoretical conspiracy kind of thought process, I think, does have Trump. And I do want you to share this, the connection with sort of wanted to tell you. Legacy, I think in the framework of legacy media is intended in those contexts to describe media that's been here a long time and will be here a long time going forward. I often talk about the Sun. There's a point at which we go from being a new startup kind of company to more of a legacy company, meaning that we've got our footing, our roots are in, and we'll be here for a longer period of time.
Right.
So when you think of that, I think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When they say legacy, it's like
Right.
how long will they'll be here a long, long time.
So yeah, we're running late, but I'm not going to go deep on this list. But our man Ron Hawkins sent this to us
A while back.
6 or 8, 10 weeks ago, early in the shows when we were talking about the left-leaning media, and Soros, as a huge contributor, is totally deeply ingrained in Obama and the Clinton administration, and he's totally ingrained in the legacy media, tight ties to ABC's executive producers, married to Susan Rice, Obama's former national security advisor, CBS's president, with a brother, ABC and Univision reporter, and it just goes on and on.
He's tied into them
CNN
via family connections and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's involved in ways that we need to be aware of. That's why I think he's getting the presidential Medal of Freedom, is because he's so interconnected, if you will, to all these
I
different
think
types of people.
if you are in legacy media or in Democratic politics, when the daughter gets married, if Soros isn't there, you're nothing.
Yeah. So Soros is somebody we've got to keep our eye on, and
Yeah.
continues to do damage. And he's handing the reins over to his little nerdy son. I think his name is Michael. But anyway, King Coons is a sponsor of ours. We're thrilled to have them. They've been with us from day one. King Coons is one of Waxahachie's best restaurants. America Tex-Mex is what I call it. It's about 2.5 miles north of the bypass on 77. You can't miss it. It's on the left, on the west side of the road. It is a really nice restaurant, one of our family's favorites. And even when we DoorDash, sometimes we get Cancun's. Our dogs, our little Chihuahuas, even love Cancun. So Cancun's is the place for you, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and you'll find great food, great ambiance, great service, just everything good you can find at Cancun's. All right. I should probably tell people because I'm a native Dallas Texan and I'm very proud of my roots and my heritage, but I'm wearing a shirt today that you can see says Minnesota. Now, Jeff's from Minnesota, but he's lived down here for a long time.
Born in Texas.
Yes. Yeah. So you're a native Texan. But the NBA has come out with baseball does it too. And I guess football does it. They call them City Connects. So they have these uniforms that are for special occasions. And so the NBA comes out with all these and they're wild. The floors are different colors, the uniforms. And so they
Sell it, sell it, sell it.
yeah, so Nike's come out with these new shirts, and I thought I like that way that Minnesota one looks. Although it just says Minnesota on it in the NBA and the logo, but it doesn't say anything about
And you're going to wear it
Timberwolves.
to Cancun's. This is your point.
I don't know where I'm going to wear it.
Okay.
I just wanted to wear it today so that one, it's cold outside, it feels like Minnesota, and people in Minnesota say Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Sure,
yeah.
Magali.
So anyway, that's why I'm wearing a Minnesota shirt. Not that you asked. All right, let's talk about weight loss in America. We know it's always been an issue. Did you want to have Sammy show something?
Yeah, not quite, but be ready with it.
Weight loss has always been an issue in life. And I know in my life, the most I've ever weighed is 228 pounds. Today I weigh 175 pounds. And over the years I've been an adult where weight was an issue, which really didn't start for me until I was about 40. Uh, I've tried just about everything. So some's worked, some hadn't, and I know people can relate to that. But weight loss in America is an obsession. And now
And a necessity.
and I mean it's important. It certainly is. And now I had some good chili from very good,
Nice.
Terry.
All
It's
right.
good, isn't it? I've been on a chili kick lately. That's funny you say that, Terry.
Yeah.
But weight loss in America has been an obsession. And now we've gotten to the next level of the obsession has become all these different brand name drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, or if that's how you say it, Zepbound, Monjero,
Right.
and the list goes on. So I know you have a lot of thoughts and some work on that.
I've
So
got some thoughts. I
what
got
say
some
you?
work, and to that matter, I started taking Ozempic years ago because the doctor told me I had type 2 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a big porky 388 at that time.
Yeah.
And I've lost a lot of weight since then. And I don't know how much of it is Ozempic and how much of it isn't. Um, I'm going to show you a way that I have accountability to myself about weight with a record keeping system that may or may not work for you. But I do feel that you have to weigh yourself daily and keep track of it. And if you don't keep track of it, it can slide up fast and it can slide down fast. And I've also seen patterns in my life where you get on a roll either way.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, and if you miss the scale and all of a sudden you're up 2 or 3 and then you don't go another 2 times and it's 2 or 3, all of a sudden you get 5 or 10 up and man, the worst thing is what I call re-losing pounds. But the point I'm going to get here is that I'd had a bad December and I was still taking Ozempic and my prescription could run its course. And on the 27th of December, I took my last shot. And when I went to take my first new one this year, well, that's another complication because they wouldn't fill it because the United Healthcare needed somehow to get recertified through the doctor, even though the same doctor has been giving this
Probably
prescription all the
because it's a
time.
new year, I
But
assume.
but I've lost 11 pounds in 8 days without that medication. Now, granted, the first few days of that, you take it weekly, so I had it in my system for 7 days.
Yeah.
But Sam, let's pull up what I call the accountability chart.
You know, the when you say, I wonder how long. I know these are weekly. Most of them are weekly applications or drugs that you take. I know also that there have been thousands of people who may feel the effects longer than a week, and may create the gap or make the gap go a little bit longer. So rather than every 7 days, they may wait 10
Right.
days. I don't know how long these drugs stay in your system. I guess you'll know because if you start theoretically, if you start getting hungry again, if they suppress your hunger, then or your appetite, then when that starts to come back, you can assume, I think, that the drug is wearing off. Fair
Right.
enough. Yeah.
But it suppresses your appetite. But here I'm doing it without it, and it's just because I'm trying harder because I know and it means a lot to me because what I'm doing right now is what I call re-losing pounds, and I hate re-losing pounds. Normally, if I got more than 5 off of the lowest number I was at that time, I'd work and get back, and so my swings were never more than 5. But last year it was a terrible year. Now, if you look at what Sam's got up there, um, I just lost it here. It may seem like a pile of jumble, and it might be for someone, but you create your own system. At the top, there's a January calendar, and you can see up in the corner, handwritten at the end of December, 278 on Monday the 30th, and you can see today, 216. Today, you can't read it very well. 267. Okay, down below it on the left-hand side is my monthly tracker, and it shows I started January at 277, and then it's empty for the end, and then I've got a delta column. Over there to the right is the tail of the scale, which is showing a 5-year history
Mhm.
of month by month, except the top one, it says 2020, it says 388 to 335, um, which is a 53-pound drop. And then I go 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I can see month to month where I've gone. I take solace in knowing, okay, when I've gotten back up, the lowest that this thing ever shows is I think 351. I was in the 240s at times, but not always at the end of months. Um, but I have red letters on certain things that were happening in my life, so I can look back and say, okay, I was in the 270s now, but you know what? When I was at my dad's funeral and people were raving about how I looked, that's where I was. Now I'm unhappy to be there because I've been in the 240s, right?
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. And then at the very bottom sideways, you see the yearly totals, and you see 2020 dropping 53 pounds, 2021 28 pounds, 2022 42 pounds, 2013 13 pounds, a 4-year total at that point from 388 to 251, down 137 pounds. And nasty ass 2024, up 26 pounds. My first up year in 5 years. And guess what, baby? It's coming back off in 25. And I'm along the route right now because I'm determined, but I hate re-losing pounds. In the yellow on that multiple year, those are my primest times. Those are the under 250s. See those 248s, 245s,
Yeah.
and then in the orange, I'm showing nasty times up in the 277s. I hate, hate, hate re-losing weight. And there's so many different ways to lose weight. People have different answers, but I'm telling you what, the simple formula is what's in versus what's burned. You you can do whatever other combination of things you want. Um, there's those that swear that you need to eat 4 or 6 meals a day.
Yeah.
That's not my answer really. There's those that swear this, that, or the other. There's the intermittent fasting. Uh, I will say keeping carbs off is a big part for me. Uh, but mostly it's working hard and really uh, I've gotten most of this 11 pounds without doing a good job on exercising. I'm going to do a better job on that. Um, but
Yeah.
what do you want to add, man?
Well,
I'm
I
dominating.
think it's, there are people who deal with weight. There are people who have have medical reasons that they deal with that weight. And I know that a lot of people out there, whether it's those people who for whether diabetes or some other ailment, have found some relief and some joy as a result of Ozempic and other things. I can tell you that from my own life, I'm just under 6'1", and I should weigh probably about 180, so I'm 5 pounds.
Yeah, you're a good number.
I don't want to weigh any less, because I look at myself sometimes and say, "Gee, put on a little, put some meat on those bones." On the other hand, I I like having that 5 pounds of room between 175 and 180.
Right.
But just as soon as I get to 180, then I'll say, well, I'd be all right at 185, and then I give myself 5 more pounds. What I will say is that I'm having trouble. I mean, I could go get. I love Crumbles cookies, or the dessert spot right out here downtown. I love those cookies, so I could go order a dozen of them today and eat every one of them and
Cookies are
gain 4 or 5 pounds.
cookies are the best.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting is to see how these drugs will develop, and how, I know this is going to sound a little bit weird, like what's the connection, but how will AI play a role in helping people or affecting people's weight or looks in general? There's going to be a way that
Well,
AI.
changing you're looking at pictures one way, but
I'm just talking about really losing weight. I mean, you can do anything to make yourself
I'd be
look
interested
weight.
in knowing what AI can do.
AI,
It's something you got to do. It's your own
It is,
battle.
but I'm telling you, AI is going to present a way, not just with weight, but other things that we're not readily thinking of, that it will impact. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all progresses. What I want is I want to stop having to buy different size clothes, first of all. So if I go back up in weight, my wife will kill me, because then I'll have to get more new clothes, because I've given all the clothes that I had at a higher weight, I've given them away. So now I'm where
Yeah.
I am, and I got to stay there. I
Right.
have to. I just have to. But it is an obsession in America. I think it's an obsession around the world, and hats off to this industry that's figured out how to make what started out as being diabetic drugs become weight loss drugs.
Right.
So
let's get the poem in early today, because it goes along that line. Okay. Is it page 87? 86.
there it is.
86. This was written in March of 2021, and I moved to Waxahachie in January of 2021. And wasn't very long after that I got the poem, the paper, into the newspaper, and started to
Yeah.
know you, and started our friendship,
Yep.
which would be about coming on 4 years,
years,
right
yeah.
now.
Amazing.
And it's called Tail of the Scale, and it goes like this. Once again on a diet, trying to make up for many a food riot. Every time I drop a pound, feels like I've won another round. Whenever the scale moves the middle digit, my heart starts to jump and fidget. Yes, your daily weight reflects what yesterday you ate. Of course, every pound you earn is one that you didn't earn. Well, there's also what you drink. This too can make you sink. So, food, exercise, and beverage are the big weight trio. You must win at all three to be a weight loss hero. Taking it off and keeping it off are two far different things. Not keeping it off leaves you soft, but taking it off makes you sing. My dubious track record, and there's a few people that know this. This is like confessing my soul to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
My dubious track record should also be a real record. 7 times I've shed 50. Sure sounds pretty nifty. Except after each big loss, pounds work their way back on this diet boss. Now I'm down 70. While this sounds like plenty, I'm still considered morbidly obese, so I'm not yet at weight loss peace. I've never really had a firm number as a goal. If I would have, I'd have never told a soul. However, now that I'm 70 shy, of my recent all-time high. There now is a number that I'd like to see. Looks like the century mark is no longer a shot in the dark. Onward I trudge to make the scale budge. Daily I must try, 'cause the scale don't lie. Then I wrote this letter later, August of that year. Now down 92. Nothing but 100 will do. Got to keep up the good work or it will never come true. But the really big thrill was not the normal scale drill. Yes, I moved the first digit. Yep, made my heart fidget when I got out of the 300s
You were happy.
and I saw the 200s. I was at 88 is what took me to get there. 89 to break it.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, that's not good enough. That's still not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Very good. Very
Thank
good
you.
poem.
Thank you.
All right. You want to talk to him about Mr. Rooter?
Mr. Rooter. We got the newest picture? We don't.
Is that the one of you in the parking lot?
Yeah, I was in
Yeah.
the parking lot of one of our leading merchants here in town, and I saw a Mr. Rooter truck. I've seen it. I've seen Mr. Rooter trucks 3 times on the road and once parked. They are getting around town. They're part of an organization of like-minded service companies called Neighborly, whose slogan is the Neighborly Done Right Promise. They were founded in 1940. I'm sorry, I got my wrong page here. They were founded in 1970. They're 54 years old. They're going to always arrive on time. They're going to give you licensed plumbers wearing uniforms. They're going to come in a cleanly manner with mats and shoe covers. They're going to get your job done the way you need it done. They do both residential and commercial work. They do remodeling work. They don't do the whole house, but they'll make your bathroom brand new. I don't have my sheet with the phone number, but most of you people, if you're watching us on the internet, you know how to work it, and you can find them at www.mrrooter, ROOTER.com/walk the hetchy.
Very good. Let's take a few minutes here to talk about the weather. We didn't really talk about it. We got our schedule all
We are
discombobulated.
fungal
But
bungled.
yeah, but that's all right. The weather, we know the weather is already turned. It went from 60 something on Sunday to bitter cold that Sunday night. So we know, those of us that have lived here a long time in Texas, and we know that this happens. Matter of fact, I was reading a funny little, it was intended to be a story, but it was describing the weather in Texas this time of year, and it said what we're about to experience will happen again sometime around Easter, just as we're getting our flowers and all that ready to bloom, and we'll get hit with another one. But right now we're being hit with what happens about this time of year. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's not as bad as what we're experiencing now or will experience this coming Thursday and Friday. But uh, all the forecasts, some are a little bit more dramatic than others, but all the forecasts would suggest or say that we're going to see some snow on Thursday and Friday.
As Rita's son Eric, I overheard him on the phone with her the other day. He said, "Well, they got it down 0 to 12 inches,
Yeah, right,
right?"
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's as I told the staff this morning, it's hard to really know until it's actually happening what we're going to experience. But by way of precaution, we are going to close the offices, the Sun offices, on Thursday and Friday, and then play it by ear. But the issue really here in Waxahachie, we go back to 2000 and I don't know what year that was, either 21 or 22, I think, when we got hit with, I mean, much colder weather than we're experiencing now, and we'll experiencing it this week when ERCOT failed to deliver on
Right.
its purpose of keeping us safe and warm and all of that. That was brutal. That shut down the town for probably 3 or 4 or 5 days. Some people didn't have power for that long, couldn't get out. I know I had to go pick up a number of people just really riding on the ice. And so I just want to say to all of you watching and listening that we ask you to take precautions. I don't think it's any reason to go out and buy reams and reams of toilet paper and milk and all that sort of thing. I mean, we're in Texas after all, but so some people take it to an extreme, but I think we just need to be careful. I have, pardon the personal reference, but I've lived in Buffalo, I've lived in Pittsburgh, I've lived in Washington, D.C., and in Denver and in Baltimore. And probably Pittsburgh and Buffalo were the worst. Uh, I can tell you, I have gone to work at the Buffalo News in the 90s. There was a time one week, I went to work with no snow on the ground. By that evening, I was trying to get home from work with 42 inches on the ground. That's 3.5 feet of snow, and I had a rear wheel only drive only vehicle. So it had to put weights in the back of the vehicle in the trunk so that the it would provide more grip. But that's brutal. That is brutal. That's scary uh, in a lot of different ways. So I've been through it living in Buffalo for a long time, and then Pittsburgh. It's pretty much the same. But the difference is that those cities are prepared.
They have coping ability. We
They
have
do.
no coping mechanism
The
here.
challenge in those cities, and well, you're from Minnesota or lived
Yeah.
in Minnesota, are the side streets. You know, they focus on the main thoroughfares and getting them de-iced and plowed and all that. But sometimes on those side streets upon which I lived, you just had it was
When in
everyone for himself.
Minneapolis, in all the urban areas up there, they have what they call emergency snow route. And when you get the big bunch, then the rule becomes you you have to park your car on one side of the street
Right.
so they can plow the other side, and then you move it to the other. You don't, you're the pariah of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the plow is just going to come and just
Yeah.
bury everything around you because they can't stop their operation for you.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. Now in all those cities, you never heard a term that I've been using only since I came down here to Texas, and it's called a media blizzard. And what I'm telling you here is we're going to find out starting at 1 a.m. on Thursday, midnight Wednesday, somewhere in there. It's going to start and it's going to come big or it's not going to come big. But for now, it's a media blizzard.
Yeah.
And then when we get there, we're going to find out what we got.
Yeah. So to that point, I hope that whatever you're going to be doing, you will be able to be indoors. I don't know how many companies in town or businesses in town will close. I do know that the streets already feel a little less crowded, and I don't know why that is. But certainly even in downtown, it just feels less crowded. Well, it is less crowded. But we want everybody to be safe. Again, we're going to be closing the Sun offices on Thursday and Friday. We are going to be delivering our paper tomorrow, and then we will let everyone know about Thursday's show. If you're going to be at home with nothing much to do, then we'll have a show if we can get
We
here.
hope so. I
Yeah,
earnestly hope so. It's got to be really bad to keep me there. I can be downtown from my house in 6 minutes.
yeah,
You're 16
yeah.
on a
If
good
that,
day. On a
yeah.
good day. So
And I don't have any problem driving in the snow. I'm a little bit more cavalier than I need to be. A little bit more. Uh, I don't know. Probably not as cavalier as I once was, but I don't mind driving in it and try to be careful. But we can be here, and Sammy can ride with me. But we'll let everyone know probably on Thursday morning what we're going to do about Thursday's show. Chuck says he lived in Alaska for 11 years, from Waxahachie, going from here to there is a big difference during winter. People don't understand that up north they have the equipment to deal with snow versus down south who don't have extreme snow. Yeah, really and truly, 2 or 3 inches in Waxahachie
yeah,
can be more dangerous in terms of getting around than a foot of snow in Alaska or Minnesota or Buffalo because they're so well
yeah.
equipped. I
And
mean, it's amazing.
one thing this media blizzard had told me about this one, which is the best news, is that they're talking about white fluffy instead of um, sleet or slushy
Yeah,
snow. The other difference going back to the disaster we had in 2022, that's the deal where we didn't get above freezing for about 5 days.
yeah,
And when this comes on that night, I think it's still going to be in the
above
mid 30s,
yeah,
almost 40 that next day, the next day.
yeah.
So it ain't going to last
Right.
too terribly long. We
Yeah.
hope.
Well, just be careful, and we will let you know about our plans come Thursday morning. All right. Yes, you know, we need to have just a show on pets. I mean, I have become such a lover of pets, particularly our own pets. But for those of you that have been to the Sun, and if you haven't, you may want to come check it out. We're actually going to be designing and trying to arrange or build more of a cool looking place for what has become
A
kind of
cat
cat,
sanctuary,
yeah, or a cat, what is it?
shelter,
No, Shangri-La.
Shangri-La.
Yeah, so right now we've got dog houses that are insulated with hay, and we put tarps around them. We close up the front entrance so that they have to, they can get in. But it really, the people that do this, and there are a couple of people, Johnny and Amanda and Vanessa, that come in and take care of these cats. There are about 7 of them. We watch these
Do they
cats.
get shots?
Yes, they get shots. They
Wow.
get, if they can be caught, and most of them have become not feral anymore. Most of them are warming up to humans, but they'll be taken to the vet. I shouldn't say we, because I don't. We just
Okay.
enable the place to be used, but it is amazing. And so our pets, if you've seen that, I don't know if it's a quote, but if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for your pets.
Right.
And so anybody that leaves a pet outside in inclement weather ought to be shot.
I've taken our sweetheart Layla on a couple walks lately with kind of a pajama outfit that our dear daughter-in-law Tara,
Oh yeah,
not quite daughter-in-law, um, girlfriend-in-law,
yeah.
had gotten us, and she looks darling in it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take pictures. We ought to post some pictures on Great and Good News and share with our pets. All right,
Uh,
let's do today in
Today in
history.
history. Um,
You have it? You had it.
yeah, I had it.
There it is.
There we go.
All right, there are only 5 today, right?
There are only 5. Boy, I'll tell you what. I went 5 and 3, and it's only because I got bonuses on
Oh,
2 of them, and I had a
yeah.
3.
You're trying to psych me
I
out.
had a losing streak of 3 in a row. And when I got this first one, Rita looked at me and she said, "You didn't cheat on that." I said, "No, I had a wild idea of the general time frame, and I just threw out a number. So I got the bonus on this, and I know you won't."
All right, let's hear it.
Did you ever know Galileo's last name?
No.
Astronomer Galileo Galilei.
Nice.
Galilei.
Nice.
Galileo Galilei observed 4 of Jupiter's moons for the first time.
1612.
1713.
1610. Dude,
What?
nice shot in the dark.
Oh yeah, I had
You,
no
but
idea.
you wish you had the bonus there.
Yeah,
There
that's
we go.
true.
No
All right.
way.
Here we go. Singer Marian Anderson became the first Black American to sing with the Metropolitan Opera in New York in Verdi's Un ballo in miscela.
What's that?
1864.
1940.
1955. I had
Oh.
1928. Clueless.
We're jumping
Yeah.
from 16 to 19?
Yes, sir. Big jump. Vietnamese forces captured the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh, overthrowing the Khmer Rouge government.
1975.
1970.
1979. I did not
Oh,
listen closely
Sammy
to
got
this
it.
because it was the Cambodian government. It wasn't anything to do with
Vietnam.
the North and the South. It
Mm.
was the North Vietnam overthrowing the Cambodian,
Oh.
and that's why I didn't listen closely
Yeah.
either. And so there I floundered.
1979. Wow.
Okay, here we go. Masked gunmen stormed the Paris office of Charlie Hebdo, a French
Yeah,
newspaper,
newspaper office. Yep.
a newspaper office that had caricatured the Prophet Muhammad,
Yep.
methodically killing 12 people,
Yep.
including the editor, before escaping. 2 suspects were killed 2 days later.
I remember vividly.
Okay, good.
Obviously, that
That's
would.
bad.
I want a bonus out of you then.
Yeah, I don't.
94.
2007.
2015.
Oh, I
You're
missed that
8
one.
off. You did not get it. I
Jeez
was way off with a
Louise.
95.
Yeah, but you know that there was another one in Annapolis, Maryland, where some folks were killed in a newspaper office.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
Okay.
3 white men who chased and killed Ahmaud Arbery,
Yeah.
Arbery were sentenced to life in prison. A judge in Georgia denied any chance of parole for the father and son who armed themselves and initiated the deadly pursuit of the 25-year-old black man after spotting him running through their neighborhood.
Yeah. I
His-
remember that too.
I
Wasn't
remember
that
it
long
too.
ago?
2021.
2021.
2022.
Oh,
22. Is that all of them
Jeez.
today?
Yeah, and I would just
Yeah,
want to say, I mean, so this was the sentencing, not the infraction. So
well, okay, yeah.
yeah, that's
But that story, that it goes almost along the lines of people who, how people, even in today's society that's run a freaking amok, how people can do that to another human being. They chased this guy did
yeah,
nothing wrong.
yeah.
It was these 3 hillbilly rednecks who didn't have anything better to do. They were related,
And
I think,
chased him down in their pickup trucks, and
and
this
pickup
guy's
truck.
on
And
foot.
I
Yeah,
can picture. I saw all
yeah,
the. I mean, they had video of it and
yeah,
the pictures, and chased him down like he was some animal, and
yeah,
then killed him. I mean,
yeah.
it's. I swear, there's got to be a deeper hell in hell for people like that. There just has to be. That's like this guy last week in New Orleans. There has to be. I mean,
Where does the hatred come from? I swear, that all the hateful things did not come from people who were surrounded in hate all their life.
yeah, no,
I mean, maybe some of them, some hate, but I don't think
we're not
we're
predisposed to hate people. That's why
right.
you see that's why I see Jesus said, "Be like little children." We're not predisposed to hate people. Or you see, I was watching a video the other day. It said it was just very solemn, hard hitting, but it had a little black girl and a little white girl, and they were so excited to see each other. They were like 4, maybe 3, running to each other and hugging and all that sort of thing. And the line underneath said, "They don't know hate." And so they have to be taught that. So these clowns in
Mhm.
I think North Carolina or South Carolina or wherever it
Georgia,
was, Georgia,
Georgia.
had to learn somewhere along the way that a black human being is somehow less important than they are, or that his life has no meaning. It's awful. And man,
And they had a misguided connection to thinking this guy had been
yeah.
burglarizing
Well,
houses.
that makes, I guess, in their minds it justifies them. All right.
We got one more.
Oh, one more.
oh,
Republican Kevin McCarthy was elected Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives in a historic midnight 15th ballot. What was historic? The fact that it went 15
Mhm.
ballots? Okay.
Yep.
Overcoming holdouts from his own ranks after a chaotic week that tested the new GOP majority's ability to govern.
Yep. A year ago,
24.
24.
That was 23.
Oh,
Dang
well,
it.
I
And I
got
got the
it.
bonus there.
Yeah, so I got tied today. You did? Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
listened closely to the last line that tested the new GOP majority's
yeah.
ability to govern.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he went through 15 rounds. We just had Mike Johnson last week, who's the current speaker, went through essentially 1 round, and but there were a lot of backroom stuff going on there.
Well, that one holdout guy started with an M. What was his name?
Uh, Gates was the one who went after. Oh, this time,
Yeah,
uh,
Miss Sarah.
not Miller.
No.
Yeah, I'd have to look it.
Good
It
try,
doesn't
Chuck.
come to mind.
Well, I'll guarantee you, he did not want to be.
Yeah, he didn't.
There was too much heat on him.
Yeah, he didn't want to be on the bad side of this thing.
No, sir.
So, all right, our meme for the day, and then we'll be closing out. It's a picture. Sammy, I put it up. I think it's really telling, and at some point we'll go deeper into things like this as well. But you got it up, Sam?
Mhm.
It says when the phone was tied with a wire, humans were free. And that rotary phone, I remember us having a rotary phone that's set upstairs for all us kids. It's set on a little thing that was built into the wall, just set there, and we had a long cord so we could take it into our room. The
Mhm.
girls and boys. But the minute we hung up, we were free from it. And that it's almost like this our smartphones have made us dumber. Our cell phones have made us more captive. And I just thought that was a great meme to share.
I like it. I like
All
it.
right, brother. Thank you for being with us. Again, we will let you know on Thursday morning via our Facebook page what we'll be doing for Thursday's show. Hopefully we'll have it, but we'll let you know. So thank you for being with us today.
Are we going to post that on other things like Instagram or?
Yeah, we'll post it wherever our team posts.
We'll
stuff.
have our man Zar Huzar take care of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. And let's always remember, don't write a check you can't cash. Boom.
See you, Chuck.